Good morning. And it is a good morning because this feeling that we've got right here, this is what freedom feels like, does it not? And I'll tell you what freedom doesn't feel like. Freedom doesn't feel like a government that the minute it has the opportunity shuts down all the national parks, shuts down the monuments, tells World War II veterans that they can't visit the World War II memorial. It's sad that these are the first things to shut down in a shutdown. It shouldn't be the case, but it happens. And unfortunately, things like this happen, whether they're under the administration of a Republican president or a Democratic president. Things like this are used as tools against the American people in political warfare. Is that okay? No! Okay, so with us agreeing that that's not okay, would we ever want to give that same government more power? Would we ever want to give that same government power over something as personal, as intimate, as important as our healthcare system? So why on earth would we do that? We wouldn't, and we won't, and we must stand together against this law. I mean, look, the fact is, the very best argument that I've ever been able to concoct against Obamacare is what's happened during the first week and a half of the government shutdown. When the government uses its vast resources against the people in order to procure a particular outcome in a political battle, we see that the government just will do these sorts of things from time to time. It's just what big governments do. As I've said on some occasions before, if Godzilla steps on your house, it's not necessarily because Godzilla means any ill will toward you or your family. It's not necessarily that Godzilla has a vendetta against you personally. It's not necessarily that Godzilla really wants to eat you. It's just that he's Godzilla and he's huge and your house happens to be there. It happens to be in the way. So when we create big governments, bad things can happen as a result, especially when we allow government to get into areas of our lives where it has no business. In my state, the state of Utah, we've got, glad to hear we've got a few Utahns here. The federal government owns 2/3 of our land. 2 out of every 3 acres in Utah, which is a lot of acres, is owned by the federal government. As a result, we can't tax that land. As a result, a lot of that land is beyond our ability to use, even though we've got vast mineral resources on that land. As a result, we can't even access that land for recreational purposes without the government's permission. And so guess what they did this week? They shut it all down. They told us we couldn't access it. Across the country, we've had people who have even been kicked out of their homes just because their homes happen to be located within federal property. Well, it sounds like a good idea, but we've got to do a lot more than that, don't we? We've got to change our system of laws. We've got to give the government back to you, the people who own it. At the end of the day, we see that nothing has really changed in the last couple of centuries, at least in the sense that when we're subject to a large, distant national government, one that taxes us too much, one that regulates us oppressively, one that operates so far from the people that it's slow to respond to their needs, we all come to the conclusion that we need to control that government and we need to impose certain restraints. That's why we put together 226 years ago a document that came up with a list of a few basic powers that our national government would be in charge of. And the list is simple. It's just a few basic things: national defense, a uniform system of weights and measures, trademarks, copyrights, and patents, laws governing naturalization, postal roads, bankruptcy laws. And then there's my personal favorite power of Congress, the power to grant letters of marque and reprisal. And if you don't know what that is, it's a hall pass issued by Congress that allows the bearer to engage in state-sponsored acts of piracy on the high seas. And regardless of how long I might be privileged to serve in the United States Senate, one day, I'm going to get a letter of marque and reprisal, and I'm going to be a pirate, and all of you are invited to join. But the point of all of this is that amidst all that powers, do you see the power to control our healthcare system? There is no power there. There is no there there. They cannot exercise that power unless we allow them. We must not allow them to do that. We've got to do everything we can to control the perpetual mission creep of the federal government from continuing 1 inch further. So I invite all within the sound of my voice, all who agree with this message, to join me in this cause, to help us engage in a national dialogue, to help us restore the vitality of the Constitution of the United States, that document written by wise men that has led to the development of the greatest civilization the world has ever known. Working together, we can educate our friends, our neighbors, our families, our crazy uncles and aunts, anyone and everyone that we can find, and we can have them help us seek out and find those candidates for federal office who are willing to stand hand in hand with us to restore the prominence, the preeminence of the United States Constitution. Together we can do this. We can, we must, and we will. So it's my prayer that Almighty God, even the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, will bless us in this effort, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you very much.